transformation because I started using the tuning forks. I used the solfeggio range, and I just integrated crystals with them as she had done, and it just worked.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the second episode of Soul Journey Podcast. I'm your host, Amir Khouzani. In this podcast, we explore healing, transformation, and the soul path. Today, I'm honored to welcome Julie Turner-Atkin, a highly experienced healer and the founder of Healing Possibilities. With over 25 years of experience in complementary therapy, Julie blends Reiki, crystals, and sound healing to create personalized healing sessions. She intuitively combines this modality to meet each client's need, helping them clear past triggers, align their energy, and cultivate desired emotions. In addition to her healing practices, Julie teaches Reiki, crystal healing, sound therapy, meditation, and business mentoring. She also organizes mind and body and spirit first and offers tarot readings. I'm excited to discuss Julie's journey and her healing work and the wisdom gained along the way. Welcome, Julie, and thank you. Hi there. Thank you for accepting my invitation and to take part in this podcast and share your wisdom and your lovely knowledge with us today. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you for having me here. It's
yes.
a pleasure to be able to share my world. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, it's been a while. Last time we met was one of the sessions you had with me, and how are you keeping?
Oh, very well, and I am busy, but yeah, my health is good, but my mind is good, and that's the thing that I like to have. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, Julie. Okay, as usual, what we are going to do is we are going to start with your personal and professional journey, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Julie, can you share a bit about your journey into the world of healing and what actually led you to this path in the first place?
Okay, well, I suppose I was always an office worker. That was what I did, and that's just what I thought you had to do. And then after I had my children, I thought I wanted a job that I could help people. And I actually got a job as a carer in a old people's home. But I realised pretty quickly that I just didn't like personal care for others. I just couldn't do it. I guess I really honour those that can, but for me, that wasn't what I could do. So I looked into massage because I felt that was people would come because they needed their muscles helped, and I personally loved the massage. So I started learning massage, and that was literally how I started. And then after a while, the aromatherapy intrigued me about how the different oils could sort of help people's health as well. Then I discovered reflexology, and all those sort of things sort of started off my healing journey. And I guess I started to work more at home with a part-time job in an office and a part-time job doing my clients, which seemed to grow and grow. But with my massage, people seemed to think there was more to it than just a massage. And I didn't know what healing was then. I'd not even heard of it, if I'm honest. I didn't understand, just wasn't in my world. And eventually I started doing a crystal course in the year 2000. And that really changed me. I can remember my first day on the course. It was over 2 years, but my first day, she was talking about the city of Atlantis, and I had no clue what that was. And she had a dowser, one of these, and we held one and it moved, and I just literally could not understand any of it. But there's something that just kept me going. And it was over 2 years, and it was a journey of self-discovery. And Lisa, who I learned from, she was way ahead of her time, talking about ascension process and spirits. And I just lapped it all up. And the more I went, the more I saw. I started seeing people's auras, the different colours of them. And this sparked memories from when I was at school. And I can remember saying that I wanted to play with the pink girl. And I was told you couldn't call people colours. But she was pink because I could see her aura and I felt she would be kind. So I can remember that. And also I know that I often had a spare seat beside me at school, lunchtime, classroom times. But to me, that wasn't a spare speech. I was talking to a child spirit that I could see. But eventually, my friends sort of teased me for talking to nobody. So these spirit friends said to me, "Oh, we're changing schools. We'll write to you later." And I remember
Mm.
saying to my mum, "Those children never did write to me." And of course, they were spirits, but they left me because I honestly believe that they knew that wasn't doing me any favors at school.
Mm.
Then I just began more fitting in, I guess. But I guess that seat beside me, even today, it always makes me laugh. I went on a plane ride recently to see my daughter in Singapore. Spare seat beside me going there and coming back, yet the rest of the plane was full. And I
Wow.
believe that was my sister came with me. So,
Okay.
it happens a lot, and I just accept it now. And I
Yes.
guess for me, when I learned Reiki, I'm just looking at the date here. That was 2013. I learned Reiki, and that really changed a lot of things because I guess by then I was understanding spirit, understanding more about healing, and especially combining crystals and Reiki, just the magic that you have in your hands alone. That was something that I found quite amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that's how I started my healing journey was from massage. I guess that was my first sort of lead into starting it.
So it was like you had it going from childhood, and it
Yeah,
stops for a while, and then when you came to your adulthood, you started with the massage, and then developed into other modalities.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
lovely.
So yeah, that was good. Yeah, because I liked that people came and then they felt stressed, and I would massage them, and then they'd sometimes chit chat about how they felt. And then that was just amazing. I just the difference that could make to people was quite profound, really.
What a lovely story, Julie.
Yeah,
Yeah, over the years, I have been conducting quantum healing hypnosis technique and the soul center healing hypnosis. And I have come to realize that the world is not what we have been led to believe.
yeah,
We are extraordinary beings capable of accessing the answer to our deepest questions and harnessing the power to heal ourselves. I guess most of the healers are actually, they don't heal, they actually facilitate the healing. For at the end of the day, the real healing comes from the client
yeah.
themselves, regardless what circumstances they are under. I was wondering, how has your understanding of healing evolved over the years that you've been doing this work?
Yeah. So I guess again with massage, to me, that's an obvious people feel better, their muscles ache, you manipulate them and they feel better. That's an instant feel. But I believe that any aches or pains or illnesses in the body come from thoughts that haven't been attended to. For example, people who take on too much, they may have achy shoulders because they feel burdens on their shoulders. But with
Mm,
massage, it was definitely people came with physical things. And what I
mm,
found the shift in Reiki when I first started that, it was more emotional things that people came for. And they may add in that they had a sore back or their ankles felt tight. But I think that over time it's changed that people are listening to their bodies a little bit quicker.
mm.
Yeah. So,
When
yeah.
you do the massage work, is that something that is just manipulating the muscles, or is that do you actually use to manipulate the energy
Well,
into?
yeah, that's an interesting question, but I do believe that you're so if somebody's memory is stored somewhere when you're massaging it, I think it lifts the memory and allows it to move out. So we store memories in our organs as well as muscles. So I believe that part of the massage does actually release the memory that's been stored in there. And
Mm,
maybe why people keep returning for massage is because they're not addressing the thought in their head. Like you say, we can facilitate the healing, but it's for them to take it further. And I guess that Reiki and crystals does take it further because then people actually talk about their emotions, I find, more than they did with massage, perhaps accepting them in a different way.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm fascinated by your work, by your healing methods, which are based on your own intuition
Mm.
and sound frequency. I have a Personally, I think I have a feeling that someday the doctor surgeries
Mhm.
will be replaced by sound laboratories or sound
Yeah.
temples.
Yeah.
Before we talk about your healing techniques, I'd love to share a short video clip that shows how sound can affect the human body and the science behind sound healing. Would you mind if I share this video? It's only
Perfect.
2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Is that okay if I do that?
Fine. Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to
All
see.
right, then let me see if I can get this going. So here we go.
Every person has a particular net, grid, matrix of energy in their subtle bodies that have particular energetic nodal points that we think of as chakras and acupuncture points, and then energetic connections between them. Probably best known today would be the acupuncture meridians, but there are many others as well known to ancient cultures. And so one of the great secrets of the ancient traditions is to know what types of vibrational qualities to apply to the energy field or to specific energy centers to be able to ripen them like a plant growing from a seed.
Your body is vibration. It's incredibly receptive to sound, and it's receiving sound and wants to come in resonance with it. Sound vibration is moving through your tissues, through the water of your body. And these frequencies have the ability to move in and act actually as a technology to bring you back into resonance, to bring your body back into harmony.
What inventions and discoveries might arise from this new era of sound science? To begin, we can reduce or even eradicate disease.
We know now that all matter resonates at a specific frequency. And if you look, for example, at a cancer tumor, obviously the atoms in that tumor are resonating at a frequency. If you can isolate the frequency of the atoms in the tumor, and you can use a sound device to create a resonant frequency that actually cancels it out, all of a sudden, you can destroy that tumor, leaving all the healthy tissue around it untouched.
We believe that now all the research that we're conducting is leading us ever closer to a future of sound healing rather than pharmacologic healing, and a new paradigm for medicine itself.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Could you hear the sound?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, everything I believe in. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so we now start talking about how have you developed your own bespoke healing sessions? You combine Reiki, crystals, and sound healing. Yeah. How do you determine which modality suits the client need in the moment?
Okay, so if somebody books on for either a reading or reflexology, that is what I will offer them when they come for an appointment. But the words Reiki, crystals, and sound are like what I call hook words. And whatever the people book, they'll get a combination, because I just feel the combination works greater. So for me, Reiki definitely beams healing energy into that body that is a vibration, but not everyone can feel it. And I do think that our human brain, we like evidence. So have a few crystals, place them on the body. The person can feel them and touch them. But then if you have like tuning forks, they make a noise and you can feel them. So I sometimes think it's the impact of all of it, whatever their belief system is. And I don't think they have to believe it for it to work. But if they do believe it, I think it works deeper. So that's why I do all of it. And I use a lot of drumming in my sessions. And I'm always amazed that when I start drumming, the person then seems to start really deeply going into that relaxation and almost falling asleep. Most people do. And you think, how can you be asleep when it's so loud? But it's just that regular beat. I just think they let go completely. So I'll be honest, on my van, I have the words Reiki, crystal, sound. And if I'm at a traffic lights, I'll see somebody and they'll say the word they understand. Oh, Reiki. That's what they're drawn to. So yes, they are like an advertising campaign, if you like. But I know that people will book what they understand because they feel it's familiar.
Yes. These instruments you use, I suppose they produce certain frequencies. Yeah. And those frequencies are somehow resonates with with our mind and body, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that the case? Are they
is.
set to a specific?
This particular one is 111 hertz, and it's the vibration of the earth.
All right.
So when you place that on the body, you are becoming in tune with the earth. So that one's very grounding. And the other one I use is 136.1 hertz, which is the sound of Om. So again, when you place that on the body, it's bringing your body to the Om sound of peace. So I would begin a session with these. I combine them, and we even strike them and put them on people's heads so they can really feel them. And it's that, I don't know, people like evidence, I guess. And for me, this is the evidence.
Yes.
And then combined with the crystals, which also vibrate at a frequency, I can sense them. Lots of people can, but someone who's not understanding it, as you say, they just think it's a stone. They don't understand that it vibrates to a frequency.
Yes, but still they get the benefit of it. You don't have to be
No, I don't. I mean, well, we'll talk about distance healing in a moment, but I've sent healings to people, they don't even know they're getting it, and I've had results with that. So I don't think you have to believe it, but it's like anything. The more you do believe it and focus on wanting to be well, I think it enhances the healing.
That's absolutely right. Okay. You mentioned that on your website, you mentioned that you focused on how client wants to feel daily.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is this intention setting process so important in healing? What does it do?
So for me, I think being in the now is all we have. And I know you know this, but for some people, when they come to me, they're full of their stories and they remember details about conversations they've had years ago. And when you talk about this, it brings it into the now. So I want them to not keep on with their stories and not keep worrying about what's coming, but to literally just be in the now. So I'll say to them, how do you want to feel today? And often people say, I don't want to feel anxious. I said, no, you've just said how you don't want to feel. How do you want to feel? And my skill is I'm quite picky about how people say things. So I make them understand that by saying I don't want, they're actually bringing that to them, and mentioning the word anxious, they're bringing that to them. But to say, I feel calm, even if they don't, but projecting that I feel calm in this moment is the sort of message I want to imprint into their body.
Yes.
I feel that is what changes them. And I say to people that I make every day my best day. And I know some people are skeptical about that. But even if I've had what would be deemed as a bad day, I just think there's always things I can be grateful for. And there are lots of things that make that day a great day.
And that makes a lot of difference, doesn't it? Because you actually set your own mindset. You take yourself away from those negative feelings that you have. It's incredibly powerful. I find it that when I'm not feeling so well, I just try to ignore it, and I get myself into a mindset that I'm actually okay. And it's amazing how it works.
Yeah. Well, it's the classic where you don't feel very well and someone comes to the door, you go, oh, hi there. Suddenly you're well again because you've stopped focusing. And it is that what you give your attention to is what you'll get more of. So this is what I try and get people to just think about how they describe their world, really.
Yes. Earlier on, you mentioned about auric field. You could actually see people's aura.
Yes.
What is auric field? How does the sound frequency helps to program this desired emotion into the auric field? Can you just explain what auric field is first?
So I think an auric field is the same as the aura. Lots of people talk about auras. And I think it's your energy field that's around your body. And it's supposed to be around 5 to 6 feet around your body, but I always think it's about as big as your arms are long. That seems to make more sense. And I suppose the way to describe it is if someone stands too close to you and you feel uncomfortable, they're standing in your energy space. So for me, that's the aura. And I think it changes color all the time. It fluctuates all the time about how you're feeling. So if you opened a letter, for example, and had some bad news, your aura may close in a bit or change color. But if you have some happy news, and then it would do the same as well. So I think it reflects your intention and your mood, I guess. With the auric field in itself, we store memories in there. And then they're re-triggered. So memories as a child, And if I can give an example, that one client, she came to me, she was in her 30s, and she said she feels it's stuck because she can never get on with anything. She'll try things and then doesn't seem to want to bother. And when we looked in her auric field, and it was in her heart chakra that happened to be in, on her female energy side, as a child, her mum used to say to her, well, there's no point you trying anything new because you won't stick at it. But when we looked at the story behind it, her mum was a single mum and didn't have a lot of funds. So she didn't want to raise her daughter's hopes that she couldn't then afford for her to go to the ballet class or brownies. So she put her off by saying, you'll never stick at it. But she'd got this so deeply ingrained that that was her story that she just couldn't stick at anything. So using tuning forks, not just weighted ones, but I use the solfeggio frequencies. You just remove the trigger. Of course, you don't remove it, but you break up the vibration so they don't react the same. And then you go on to do things. And then, you know, I heard from her later that she had changed her job and she didn't like that one. So she did another one. That was fine too. She wasn't worried if she didn't stick at something. Rather than stay in a job for 10 years that she wasn't keen on, she realized it was okay to keep changing, but she thought it was a fault. So I guess that's how the tuning forks help with that. They actually remove the trigger or change the vibration of it. I guess that's one way to describe it.
Yeah, so that frequency that she receives somehow dislodges what that memory frequency is, you know. It's okay. And you mentioned again about the aura color and the heart. Is the aura color related to our chakra color, or has it got its own color? Is it a different color?
So that's a bit of a big debate about chakras and their colors, but on a standard level, I do believe when I saw this young girl who was pink, she was a very kind, heartfelt person. So I do believe that the colors can very much so relate to the chakras, and in crystal healing for sure. And again, is it that, or do we want it to be that? But I have found with, you know, over the years that hematite, which is a dark black crystal or grey shiny crystal, it's very good for grounding. Actually feels quite heavy, whereas an amethyst or a clear quartz is very good up here. It vibrates at a high vibration, and when I hold them I can feel the difference between the high vibration. So what you're trying to do is balance it up all the time. But I really believe that your chakra colors, it's good to know them, because I do think it matters. And I know if a client comes to the door and I can see her aura's sort of wiggly wobbly and her colors are all over the place, I can tell she's got something going on. She's not very grounded. So hopefully when she'd leave, the aura would be sort of more one color, or not so jaggedy. And also that she would feel more sure of who she was. And often they go out feeling, you know, the blue for the throat. One lady, she went out glowing with blue and felt she could then speak her truth. So that is how I see them. I don't know if that's everybody's truth, but that's how I see it.
I see. So you actually see them with the aura color coming in.
Yeah.
And you see them with a different color going out.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
And I have to say that's how I read people, and I don't do it all the time, but I suppose for want of, you know, standing at the supermarket, I may not think about what somebody's aura color is, but the moment it's an interaction with me, I will see their aura, and it's sort of my little way of getting to know them a little bit, I guess.
Yes. Lovely, fascinating. And also, you mentioned that you work deeply with the heart chakra. Why do you choose to focus on the heart, and what role does it play in overall healing?
So I believe that your chakras form over your lifetime. So if I just describe 0 to 7 is your birth, that's your base chakra. And everything you learn in those first 7 years is what you believe is the truth. So parents, for example, or going to school. And then the 7 to 14 is your sacral chakra. So that would be when you start creating things. And that was when that lady, her mum had said to her, you can't do this, you can't do that. That was in her, she was about 9 or 10. So that was all deeply ingrained in her sacral chakra. Then you have 14 to 21 is all your emotions in your solar plexus. And the heart is the gateway, which is 21 to 28, because this is all part of your grounding is below, and above your heart is your inspiration, but the heart is the gateway. And lots of people feel things very heartfelt. They hold on to emotions in the heart, and they're stored in the heart. And in crystal healing, there's a technique where we look at where a past memory has been stored. It can be this lifetime or past lives. And you can actually shift the memory, again, by downloading these numbers and codes into the heart chakra. I think it just lifts the energy. And I wanted to show you my piece of shungite Merkaba, which I came across in a shop. They had no clue what it was. I have to say it was the best price I've ever paid for a piece of shungite. But I've been placing that in people's hearts. So normally you wouldn't want to place a darker crystal in the heart, but shungite is a fairly newly discovered crystal from Russia, and it's very powerful, and that it balances everything is the key to this, and it feels quite light. But when I place that in somebody's heart, I can actually see the aura opening up and allowing it to come in. And it I don't know, people just said, oh, I felt like my chest was rising up. So that's one of my latest experiments by putting that in people's hearts. And it just goes with everything I ever think about the heart. If your heart is open and glowing, it makes everything flow more.
Yes, yes, yes. It is the boundary, I guess, between our emotional and the, it's in the middle, higher spiritual selves. So, yeah.
And people who've had past hurts are afraid, oh, I'm going to close my heart off. And I always say, keep your heart really open. It actually makes you more transparent, because people aren't noticing you, as if you feel like you don't want to share or be more shy or keep away from people. I think people are more likely to come towards you. Yes. So I would say just keep your heart open, and then you get more open love flowing back into your heart. Is my theory anyway.
I think you were meant to have that little star crystal. It's because you are putting it into good use.
Yeah,
so well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we just talk about crystal also plays a big role in your sessions.
Yes.
Can you explain how do they work? How do they hold and stabilize healing energy? To some people, it's just a piece of stone.
Yeah, for sure.
How does it actually does what it does? I know I've been at the receiving end of it, and I had some wonderful sessions healing with it. So if you could explain how does it work?
Okay. Well, crystals come from the earth, and the earth vibrates at an energy. Like I said, this 111 frequency is the frequency of the earth. So when things grow in the earth, everything has a vibration, but crystals in particular can hold the vibration because they're more solid. So I believe that whatever vibration they have, when you place them on the body, it helps your vibration to match with that of the crystal. And when we talk about higher or lower vibration, I'm always careful with my words not to say open or closed or blocked. But if you're a higher vibration, you can imagine it makes you feel lighter. And so if someone has got some sadness around them, or they're in grief, and they were to hold some rose quartz, which is a very high vibration, it would lift your vibration to the energy of the crystal. So that's how I believe it, that initially. But because the energy is very pure, it stays within your auric field and within your aura. And I think that's why it holds, because I don't believe you actually have to have the crystal. When I teach crystal healing, I give people a meditation where they imagine they're going inside the crystal, and each crystal has a diva inside, and that could be like a, I don't know, I call it like a queen or a diva. And the diva will give you a message, what that crystal is meant to do. And if I wanted to say help somebody to feel more clarity, if I didn't have a clear quartz crystal, I would just imagine that crystal in my hand, because I know the vibration. So I try to get my students to understand what the vibration feels like to them. Simply, clear quartz brings clarity. They can simply beam that energy into people. Now, I do believe anyone can do this, but obviously you've got to get your head around that. But I think when you hold the crystal and place it in the body, it seems to gather all the energy and really go deep into your system. And I think that's why it holds so much.
I see. So has it got its own energy, or does it actually absorb and collects the energy from the universe? How does it come with its own energy? Or?
I think it comes with its own energy. I guess I've never asked that question of a diva. Maybe I should ask it. And but I do think they they pick up energies, is what I want to say. So at the end of a session, I will always cleanse my crystals. There's many ways. I breath cleanse. I will blow on it, and all my crystals are in this room. So there's lots of lovely things going on here anyway, and I may sort of just beam some Reiki over the crystals. So I like to cleanse them, the same as, if we've been doing some hard work, we'd have a shower at the end of the day. And I believe that crystals do need cleansing. So, but I guess they can gather energies, and that can make them more powerful, I would guess. Especially amethyst caves, for example, we can put crystals in them to charge them up. So crystals like moonlight as well and sunlight helps to charge them. So I guess, yes, in that way, they are gaining energies from the universe as well. Yeah.
Yes.
I hadn't thought of it that way.
And what about the size of the crystal? Does it make difference? The bigger, the better, or?
So I will show you. So that these are my working crystals, and this is me. I just love the grandness of them all. I guess that's just my personality. But I was in a shop in Glastonbury, and a crystal shop. There's a lady there looking to buy a piece of crystal, and she had a massive piece of rose quartz. I could hear her saying to her mum, "Oh, but that's a lot of money." So I gave her a small piece of rose quartz, and I said, "Put them down and just hold your hands over them. You'll feel they're the same." And she said, "Oh, yeah, they are the same." I don't know how tuned in she was. I said, "You don't need the big piece. It looks lovely, but the little piece will do, because it's the personality of the crystal that holds the energy of that." Yeah. So I really don't think. I love big crystals, but even the little tumbled ones, I think they work just as well. So, yeah.
Yes, yeah. And your tuning forks.
Yeah.
I guess they are the key tool in your practice. How do they work to break up the stagnant energy and clear the past triggers?
Yeah. So the healing work that I do, the auric field tuning, is a lady called Eileen McCuzak. And I did write down what her book was called. I can't see it initially. I'll probably find it in a moment. But when I read her book, she is someone who's scientific, and she had done lots and lots of research on how and why tuning forks should work. Now, for me, I have a huge faith of trust, and also I'm not really into doing big, deep studies. So for me, I appreciated all the studying she'd done. I just took on board her information, because I started using the tuning forks. I used the solfeggio range, and I just integrated crystals with them as she had done, and it just worked. So again, I just gave it a go. I'm very much one for just trying out new things, but I just found that when they're not weighted forks that I use, they're the other ones without the weights on, but when you literally wave them in the energy of somebody, it just seems to break up the energy. And I know that my clairvoyant skills sometimes may benefit me, because I can see past situations or get the essence of someone's parents. But one of my students was an accountant, and she was very skeptical. She'd done Reiki and crystals, but she wasn't sure about the auric field, because you have to keep chopping until you feel it. And suddenly she said, "I can feel something." So you don't have to be clairvoyant to do it, but I guess, you just add different skills. But even she could feel, when she got to a certain age in that person's auric field, she could feel there was a difference. And I just think it's this vibration. It starts to break up the energy and lets the story come out. And it's getting rid of the story sometimes, I think, changes things.
Yes, yes. You can actually purchase these forks. It comes in a set, doesn't it, for the hard frequency, for the crown frequencies, and I mean, is that wise to get them and have a go at home with them?
So I'm quite fussy where mine come from, because a lot of them are made in India, and they're tuned to the vibration from the heat in India. We have the same things with gongs, because it's a different country. But here, sometimes the frequencies when they arrive, they're not the same frequencies. And I had bought some sets, and I didn't feel confident that they were the right frequencies. Now, again, maybe I could have made the other ones into the right frequency. It's all a mindset, isn't it? But I suppose I'm quite fussy about that side of things. But for sure, to buy an OM 136.1 hertz these are really readily available, and I have to say I haven't come across a bad one yet. They're all quite good on the frequency. It's the ones that haven't got the weights on that seem to not always be so well made. And nothing against any other country that produces them, but I have had a problem getting some of those.
So people can actually go out and get one of those, come home and get the benefit of it.
Definitely. And these ones in particular that you place on your body, because it's easy to do. And if someone has a sore muscle on their back, you can just literally place it on the muscle, and you can feel the vibration breaking it up. So these are a really good tool for lots of things. And if someone has migraines, it's placing them on your head, you can feel the vibration, and it just shifts that energy. So these are definitely easier, but I know there's lots of selling platforms where you can buy the sets from, but I would just be cautious if they're the correct frequency. But then, like I said, I don't know how much it is important, but it was to me. So I guess that's the practitioner side of me.
Yes, I mean the healing benefit of it is, I guess, supersedes the price of it. As if you are interested in it and you're seeking a healing, then paying a little bit more money and get the right
ones,
then it's worth an investment, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Because if the ones you buy aren't effective, then they are in effect useless. So then I would always say hold out. And there's some places that I get them from that I would certainly recommend. Yeah.
Yes. You also work with holographic healing codes and numbers. I'm so fascinated by this modality. I actually experienced it myself during one of your sessions, and it really worked wonderfully for me. I had a problem with my knee, and that helped me to virtually overcome it.
Yeah.
And can you explain what these are? What are these? What is these numbers that comes to you, and how do you access this number? Where do they come from, and how do they impact the body in the in body's healing process when they come out?
Okay, so many years ago, I used to learn, it's called EIP therapy, which stood for energy interference patterning. And we used to do a very lengthy kinesiology on the person, offering them different words to see which one that flexed to. And then we changed it to a dowser. Then we changed it just asking people a number between 1 and 10 and whatever they picked. So that was the start of that. And the lady who devised that, she also just worked out that barcodes type numbers, you could channel them and you could beam them into the body. And again, a bit like with my crystal course, I was wide-eyed and thought, we'll see about that. But she devised a really clever way of doing it. But you could also, once you got the hang of it, you could literally close your eyes and these numbers would come. But that was years ago. I forgot all about I'd even done that. And then when I went to Glastonbury, probably about 4 years ago, there was a guy who came on the workshop and he was channeling light language, which my friend does. And she then started doing more of that. And as he was doing this session, I just started saying all these numbers. And I just thought, what is it? And literally, I couldn't stop saying them. And suddenly it would be code end. But I didn't know what they were for. So then we sat in a group, my friend and I and another person. And I'm not a numerologist, my friend is. But I just kept getting these codes. So in the end, I asked, what are they for? And I was told by my guides they're for healing codes. And each of the numbers is a vibration, which then, of course, it made sense because the crystals vibrate, the tuning forks vibrate, and the healing codes are a number. So when a client would come to me, I'd ask them how they'd want to feel. And I would write these phrases on a little piece of paper. And then I would hold on my crystal, I'll show you that in a moment. And I would just ask for the healing codes to match these phrases. So, but it's never the same code. It's like I couldn't say the word healing has a vibration. It's just a different code because it's the combination of the words together. And I would just get these numbers down and I literally would just say these numbers out loud and just beam them into that person's body. So I'd give them the codes and some clients would come back next time and say, oh, I've been saying those numbers and the phrases, but they just seem to really lift people's energy. So I don't know why they work, but they just do. And I suppose that's my huge trust in the universe. They've given me this optimum information that I just agree to use. It's amazing.
And these numbers come to you, just flow through you, and
Yeah.
from somewhere else, I
Yeah,
guess.
there's no logic to them. I have to say that because I had done a bit of research because at first I felt a little bit embarrassed because I couldn't explain them. But this light language man, he said he doesn't know the interpretation of his light language. He just trusts that the vibration of his words will be useful. So again, my friend then felt more at ease not knowing what she was saying. And I just trusted that the numbers, the numbers will be the same. He said, you just have to trust that they're the perfect vibration.
Yes. Well, I mean, I never heard of it, but when I received it, I couldn't deny that it
Something
actually
happens.
works. Yes, something happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering, is it possible to do a live demo for people to have a?
Yeah, for sure.
Have a,
Yeah, I just need a subject of some sort. So if you have a thought of
Okay.
what you so like before we did it on your knee. So whether there's something that you'd like to work on, I'll write it down because it makes it more powerful.
Okay. I would like, let me think. I would like to ground more and then find my next level of spirituality evolvement. Not that I'm stuck, but I like to accelerate it. Is that possible?
Yeah, so the next level of spiritual development, did you say?
Yes, evolvement, development.
Evolvement,
yes.
That's right.
Do I need to do anything or?
No. So I always write the date down and I write it all in numbers. So we're the 12th of the 3rd, 2025, because that in itself is a code. We're in year 9, which is, a powerful year. And I have actually heard that 2026 is the year for sound. So we're moving into that very rapidly, which is good. So I will show you the background to how I do these codes. And part of my acceleration, I guess, is thanks to you, because when I came to one of your sessions, my higher self told me that I would be given a crystal called a Hakima, and I would find it in a box. So my beloved friend actually made me a box with the words written on it, and the symbols were the symbols that I had downloaded from the session with you. And this is my Hakima. And I've tried to look it up, but it doesn't exist in Google land, but I trust what it is. And literally, as soon as I hold it, it just helps me to focus. So I just need to think for a moment. So I just ask in my head for codes for Amir to ground more and to find the next level of his spiritual involvement. 18, 9, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 26, 81, 395, 261, 89, 89, 13, 13, 13, 4, 8, 9, 26, 21, 18, 15, 315, 215, 8, 8, 8, 8, 9, 13, 1, code end.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Lovely.
Just give thanks to my crystal.
Thank you.
So there we go. It's hard to know because it's hard to evidence that, but you will let me know.
Yes. And it's fascinating because it was 2 number and 3 numbers, 3-digit numbers.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So is it always 2 numbers, 2-digit numbers and 3-digit numbers, or varies?
I've never had more than 3 digits. But it's always a combination. It's just a real mixture.
Yes.
I just hear code end and I say that word and then it all just stops.
I see. So it actually comes out that it's done. This code end means
done.
It's done. Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. I've actually had heard about this and how powerful it is, but it wasn't until we had the session with you then I realized, my goodness, it actually is powerful. It is something beautiful in it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julie. Thank you very much for this. You also teach, of course, you're a teacher, and mentorship. You mentor students in setting up their own healing business. And what a lovely thing to do. And what advice would you give to people who want to set their own healing business and succeed in the healing business?
So I guess it's always about working on yourself first. I would have to say that it's not something you can just step into. You will never get a queue of clients outside your door. I think it's about working very slowly on that. And I guess I know I've been doing it 25 years, and students that come to me, they often want to change the regular job they have for the healing job. And I will encourage them to make a very slow transition, because they still have reality of their family or bills to pay. And it's often about allowing that gap. If you work full time, where will you find your clients' time to fit in? It's sometimes about giving up a day's work and reassessing your own life if that will fit in, and opening up the door to having clients with you if that's what you want to do. But with the sound baths, for example, then it's about finding venues and setting up again about having clients. But I find that, not to generalize, but lots of spiritual people have loads of ideas, but nothing gets grounded, and they just are not good on the tech side. Whereas for me, I love technology. I come from Andromeda, is one of my planets that I come from, and I love technology. And although it makes me swear at times because it's frustrating, but I want to be able to help people make their website and to know how to set up a Facebook page and an Instagram page. And this is all very much what we're in the now. And maybe in years to come, this won't be necessary. But at the moment, that's the best and the cheapest way to advertise. So in my desire as much to teach people healing modalities, I want them to make their business work. I suppose I went for years and people came to my courses, but then nothing ever happened because they don't know how to promote it, or they haven't a belief that they will get clients. And I've had quite a few people now that I am mentoring, and that I'm really helping to promote them, and I keep a watchful eye, help them with anything I can, but I really want them to make their business a success. And that they will say that I have a very twitchy eye, so they'll send me their business card and I'll say, oh, that border won't work, or this isn't right, because I can see instantly. I used to work in publishing years ago, and I know what stands out. So I guess I like to try and help them accelerate as much as possible, so that's my desire for that.
And is that a service that you provide? Is it like a paid service, or is it just a mentoring that you do with your students?
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm sort of I'm mentoring people, but I will be honest, it can take me sometimes 2 or 3 hours to produce a leaflet, and I guess the time will come where I would prefer the person to do that themselves. And I don't want to make leaflets for other people. I want them to be able to design their own. There's so many platforms now they can do it on. So the courses that I'm going to devise will be, people can come on them, and that will be for me to earn money to share with them how to do these platforms. But
yes,
that is my next thing. It's not quite happened yet, but that's my next adventure. Yeah.
You also work with dragon frequency. What is that about? Dragon frequency.
I mean, I love the dragon energy. And again, when my friend and I went to Glastonbury, as we walked up to the tour, I suddenly felt this swoosh of a tail come really close to me. And I said, oh, because I'm very visual. So I saw this dragon snaking its way up the hill. My friend could sense it. So I guess we bring in the power of the dragons, and more recently with the fires, we tried to send the dragons over there to try and put the fires out. So rather than get caught up in, the social drama of it all, use the energy of the dragons, because I guess dragons get bad press because they are feared, but they fight. They are great fighters, and they have an amazing calmness about them, and they're strong. So if you can get onto the energy of a dragon, they are really strong, and they vibrate at a really high frequency. And they can also bring messages down from the higher ascended beings, because if we were to see some of them, that would be a bit of a shock. So their messages from the higher beings come down through the dragons, and I guess that's why I call them in at times as well.
Well, if I see a dragon, I just freak out. So whether it's higher being or dragon would freak me out anyway. But they are not myth; they are actually real.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Because I know many people work with dragon frequencies. Not many, but there are some people who work with, and they actually. I had a session myself, a sound healing with my previous guest actually, and she was using these dragon frequency tubes.
Yeah.
And I actually, in my meditation state or the trance state, I actually saw a dragon flying by. And I was so fascinated that the sound can actually transmute itself to vision or somehow.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's true. I have the solfeggio frequency tubes, and they are very similar. And again, that can bring in all sorts of images. So I think sometimes it's what you're focusing on. If you think it's going to be dragon frequencies, or I'm very much into the elves and the fairies and the pixies, and I work a lot with the elementals. So that's quite often those that come through with me, the elementals. But of course, they all go hand in hand with each other.
Yes. Okay. The Indian head massage and the meditation, you recently expanded your teaching into this modality. How did that come about? And
sorry,
No, carry on.
Yeah. So, I've used meditation for absolutely years. And again, I don't really know how. I just listen to other people's, I suppose. And I'm very good at making up stories. I love a story. So quite often when clients are here, I will, take them on a journey to help them with their healing. And one of my Reiki students, she wanted to learn to be a mentor for meditation, or a coach for meditation, mindfulness coach. But I didn't actually have that qualification. And in the world of the matrix, if you want to teach a course, you have to have that as a qualification for insurance purposes, which I totally agree people should have. But to me, it's all playing into the matrix. So I did a mindfulness and meditation course online, and then wrote my own course. And I then taught that. So mainly with the meditation course, I did one yesterday. I suppose I want to get people to see that even just 5 minutes breathing can be useful in the morning before you do anything else. And I bring in about gratitude. So what I'm really doing is sort of bringing all the modalities together with that I do. But I guess for some people, if they feel a little bit nervous about doing a meditation, I also get them to try and write one out so they know the elements of meditation. That was the reason for that. And for the Indian head massage, well, I gave up massage because my hands were very damaged after 20 years of massaging. But I do still offer an Indian head massage. And again, it's because people look for it. So if they're searching for someone in my area to do Indian head massage, I had it on my website. But one of my students said, would I teach it? So again, I devised a program so that I could teach it. But the Indian head massage is very different to regular massage in that it's very soft and very gentle. You're not looking to work into the muscles as such. But again, it's working very much on the back. So we imagine we're drawing angel wings on people, or fairy wings, when we're doing the movements, and just lifting that energy. And by, having your head touched and massaged, is all very gentle, but people just get almost hypnotized while it's happening. And I really enjoy doing it. I suppose it's just that complete letting go. So since I've been doing it now, I think I've taught 8 people now, and I've got another course on Monday. I'm just amazed. I think we have a bit of a joke about my courses. If people come and have a cup of tea, they then seem to do all my courses. And I've even had some mugs made now. And it just that I think if people like the way I teach, they just want to learn whatever I'm sharing, which, I'm really blessed that that's happening. But in an Indian head massage course, I suppose it's slightly separate to what I really want to do. But people ask for it, and I love to teach. So I guess that's why I do it.
Lovely. And do you have many students? Or have you had many students?
Yeah, well, I've only been doing it a couple of months. I've already had 8 students go through,
okay.
And I've got another course on Monday with 3 on. So it's
okay.
Yeah, it's a lovely day. We all massage each other's heads all day. What's not to like about that?
Yes.
It's great. Yeah.
And I want to now ask about the client experience. Have you noticed any common emotional or energetic patterns that your clients come to you with, they struggle with, and they come to you to seek assistance?
So I seem to get a lot of clients with relationship issues, and I suppose for me, in my world, I have quite a big experience of relationships. It's not that I know any more, but I've had more experience, I guess. So not that people necessarily know that, but I seem to draw people who are just needing a bit of guidance with that, I guess. And I really think that a lot of people hold on to past emotions. They keep recalling them. And again, as I said earlier, if you keep recalling past emotions, they end up in the now. And I think they then get confused with the story they told themselves and to believe that's still there. So I do think it's unresolved triggers from the past. I think that's something that I definitely feel that a lot of people come with that. They don't know how to move forward. They are not very good at seeing past that. And people judge themselves like that was a mistake. I should never have married that person or done that thing. So I suppose I try to get them to see that, well, it happened then, it's not happening now. And
Yes.
I try to get them to not trivialize it, but to realize they're making it bigger than it needs to be by keep remembering it. And again, we come back to the just being in the moment, all is well in this moment. Nothing else is happening but now. I think
Yes.
for me, that's one of my biggest things. I get people
Yes.
always say that I point out the obvious. So, and I
Well,
suppose that's what I
sometimes
do.
we need to understand the obvious because we forget about the obvious.
For sure. Yeah. So,
As
yeah,
they say, I think they say past is the history, future is the mystery, and the
yes,
present time is what we create our reality, really.
yeah. And I also think, like with social media and stuff now, there's lots of comparisons. Like, oh, that person's got all of this, and I didn't get invited out when they all went out.
Yes,
And I do think that's a whole new horrible ball game, really. This comparison.
yes,
I love social media. It's a great way to advertise, but I think that's when it's used in a positive way. But I do get people, and I'll even, spend time showing them on their phones. Look, but this lady, she said she's having a horrible day. So who do you want to believe? It's just that people post the most insane things sometimes. But if you're in a bit of a low space or low vibration, then you seem to draw that to you. So again, I try to get people to limit how much they believe what they see.
yeah.
Again, it's really obvious, but
When you mention the past traumas or the past event or the past patterns, what past are you talking about? Are you talking about this past, or you're talking about previous past lives?
So I honestly believe it can even come from dimensional lives, ones that are happening concurrently with this one. I guess I try to work with what I think the person can believe. And if I think by telling that person it was a previous life and they won't understand that, I think then I would lose that person's ability to want to heal further. So I try and relate it, because even if it's happened in this past, in their past years, it will still probably have happened before because they still haven't understood the pattern. So it's not, I always think they're not, they're just experience we've asked for. I try not to say they're teachings or telling offs or things we have to learn, just experiences that the soul has asked to understand. And I guess if you didn't understand it in your last life, you may get it again in this life.
Yes, that
again,
makes
I
sense.
very much pick my audience on that one, because I genuinely believe, even though I believe in dimensional lives and past lives, I've still chosen to be here now.
Yes.
And this is the life I have to lead. So this is why I work with that. But I also am aware that I see through dimensions, and I see people in different guises to how they are now. But again, it's what they believe.
Yes, that's right. You have to work with them. You have to, in a way, what you said is quite right. You have to, you have to give people what they can understand in order to benefit the healing. They come to you, obviously they are paying money, so it is whatever way that they understanding is fine, as long as they get the benefit of it. They don't have to have a certain belief.
I totally believe that. And when I always offer people, I give them a crystal that I will have placed on their body, and I give that them to take away with them. I always put it in a little bag with some foil angels in there. And, I say, that's your little gift. You can tell. They're always like, oh, really? What do I do with that? I said, oh, just hold it. And I know when they come back, they sort of say, oh, I love that crystal. I've kept it by my bed. Or, it's just a tool. It's just a something
Yes.
that they remember that they felt calm when they were here, and it
Yes.
reinforces that memory. And I personally like stuff. And I think if you have something to hold, then if that brings back that memory, that's perfect.
Mm. What is what is one of your most profound healing experiences you have witnessed with a client?
Yeah. So I thought about this, and I suppose the one I want to tell you is about a distance healing through Reiki. And it wasn't even something that I would say I even put a lot of energy into. And the reason I'm saying that is because I was completely amazed at the result. And I want to say this is how I know that healing works on so many levels. You don't have to be concentrating for ages, because this was quite unusual. So a friend of mine, she had a friend who was in hospital, Laura, her name was, and she had a 4-year-old daughter, and her cesarean scar from when she had the little girl was somehow starting to eat into her body, and she was in an incredible pain, abdominal pain. She was in hospital, and the consultants weren't really sure what it was, but she was in so much pain. And they actually advised her husband and her daughter to go in to sort of say goodbye to her, because they didn't know how they were going to help her get better, because she was losing, she was just so weak. And my friend went to see her, and she was so upset, just couldn't. She said, will you send my friend some healing? I'd never met this Laura. So I've got a little clay pot that my daughter made me, and I write people's names on a heart and put them in this pot with crystals. And I literally just will hold my hands over that and send healing. And it's in my healing room, so they'll get healings all day. But that literally is the extent of what I'm sending to that person. Also sent it to my friend because she was so upset. And I gave her some crystals to take in to this Laura. So the next day, my friend went in, and Laura was sitting up and eating. And she said, I don't understand. And Laura didn't even know I'd sent this healing, which is why it's so profound. And she said, oh, my friend has sent you some healing, and explained who I was. And these are some crystals. And literally within a week, she was out of hospital, but they still didn't really know what happened. And there's no real explanation for that. So I was a bit like, oh, that seems a bit weird, but it happened, and I know it happened. And then about a year or so later, I was at the school with my friend picking up her children, and this Laura was there, and she met me. She went, oh, I really should have said thank you more. And she was like, absolutely, it's just me, ordinary me. And she was like, treating me like I was some sort of guru. She just couldn't believe that had worked. And I said, oh, I just sent you some healing, because literally that is what I did. And of all the healings I've done, I think that is the most profound, because I literally, she didn't come to my house. I didn't charge her any money. I didn't put any crystals on her body. I just sent her love and kindness and universal healing. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, it's lovely. I mean, in the spiritual realm, there is no distance, there is no time, there is no separation. It's all instantaneous. Yeah, lovely.
So and I just at my Reiki, because Reiki 2 is all about sending distant healing. I always tell that story to people, and I get them to practice it, even if that's not what they want to do. And I personally don't offer distant healing, but I will always put their name in my little pot. But I say to them, it's worth a go, because this is my experience of distant healing.
Yes. Lovely.
Never underestimate.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking for about 1 hour and 20 minutes. So for those who are watching this podcast, Julie, who are drawn to healing, but they don't know where to start, what advice would you give them?
Do you mean for them to become a practitioner, or
yes, that's right. To become a practitioner and start their journey.
Okay. Well, I think the first thing is just to be curious, and I would say, start going to gong baths or sound baths. Maybe find a drumming circle. Reiki is always a great way to start. I love Reiki. That sort of accelerated my journey. buy crystals, get into that, go to mind, body and spirit fairs. I think it's about finding your tribe, because I know people, when they change their mind about the way spiritual things work, like crystal healing, they may, just get into different circles of friends. I think that's a good thing, but I think just want to do it, I think, is the best thing. I mean, for sure, I teach Reiki, but so do many others, but there's so much information online now. But I would say, if you find someone that you want to learn from, message them, have a conversation with them and see if they resonate with you. I think that's the biggest thing.
And also earlier on, that lovely advice you gave, to get into this healing business, you really have to start slowly. What I mean in terms of, don't give up your job.
Don't give up the day job.
Don't give up your day job, and
Yeah.
just transit into it very gently. And when you feel confident that you can actually leave your daily job behind.
Yeah, it's about that desire. I mean, I have been literally doing it for 25 years, and I feel really blessed that my world just, rolls round now. And I'm lucky that years ago it wasn't heard of. Now it's all trendy. So I do think that you've got an opportunity to find a way to work more on yourself. Even like going to meditation groups is another great way.
Yes.
Or meditating yourself, anything really.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it also does take a lot of energy. I mean it in terms of personal energy.
Yeah.
I know you're extremely active, and you have different classes, traveling and going to different places. So it does take a lot of dedication and time, doesn't it, before you actually get there and set up yourself to do the work. So, well, I love talking with you. I think you are a great healer, and you are such a dedicated person, and your work comes from your heart. I know that. So I'm genuinely honored for you to have been my guest and give me your time and have a conversation with me. And just in case people who are interested and they want to contact you, either receive healing or book a course with you, how could they contact you? What's the best way?
So my website is my go-to, and it's Healing Possibilities. So that's definitely the best way. But also I'm on social media. I'm quite easy to find, and I believe you'll put some links for me so that people can find me. But also on my website is a links page where students that I've trained, that I've got their names on there too. So if they're more in your area, there's nothing to sort of stop you connecting with them and seeing if that's who you'd like to have a healing from. So there's many options on my website, I'll say.
And I put your mobile number. Is that okay?
Yes, that's
if
fine.
They want to contact you by phone and book a session? Okay, Julie.
Yeah.
All right. Lovely. Thank you very much indeed for sharing your story and your experience and your wisdom with us today. Lovely talking with you, as always.
Thank you for the opportunity. And I just hope that some of my words help people to feel inspired, really.
I'm sure it will. Thank you very much, Julie.
Thank you.
And God bless you. And thank you for
Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.
Ah